All right. Hello and welcome back to online English class. Today we are going to be beginning the process of taking your Unit 5 test, which is about romantic poetry. All right. So let's talk about this email that I sent to you with the attachment of the test. Before you open that attachment, before you begin working on that test, you need to watch the YouTube video explaining the directions, which you're doing right now. You need to open up yourself a Word document and label the sections of your document exactly as they are labeled on the explication prompt. There are 5 major sections of the explication. Section 1, which is about sound devices and meter. Section 2, which is about word choice, imagery, and figurative language. Section 3, which is about symbolism. Section 4, which is about voice. And Section 5, which is about theme. All right, so you need to label those in your own Word document. What I've sent you is a PDF. You won't be able to type in that PDF. Okay, the reason why I did that is because we have probably 2 primary different forms of word processors out there, both Pages or Microsoft Word, and the formatting is not one-to-one in the transition between those 2 kinds of things. So there would inevitably be messy formatting. Instead of messy formatting, I'd like to have very neat formatting. So you'll just format your own document, okay, for yourself. Now, your test is due before 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon with your sonnet copied and pasted in the same document as your explication. It should be clearly labeled and clearly titled. In the email that you send me your test in, which is a very important email, all right, you need to include in the subject line, okay? Everyone understand what a subject is? It's the subject line. It's the title of the email. In the subject line, type your name and your class in the subject line of the email. That's very important so that the email doesn't get lost and so it's easy for me to find. All right, so type for example, Bradley Hayes, Unit 5 test, and he is in English 2. Okay? All right, so you want to make sure that your name and your class name is in the email. All right. And finally, all right, when you're done with your test, you need to pick up a copy of 1984 by George Orwell. That's the next text we're going to be studying. They're going to be outside of the school from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on a chair under the veranda outside of the high school office from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., both today on Thursday and tomorrow on Friday. If you already have a copy of the novel in your house, all right, you can always use that. But by Monday, you need to have a copy of George Orwell's 1984. I've got copies here. You can get one from me, or you can get one for yourself somewhere else, okay? So let's go ahead and open up that attachment, look quickly at the directions, and then you can begin work on your Unit 5 test, all right? So if you are in the honors class, right, you need to closely analyze one of the poems listed below. Either The Tiger by William Blake or The Solitary Reaper by William Wordsworth. So if you're in the honors class, you should have prepared for all of the poems, and you have to write your essay, your explication about one of these 2. Okay, so you do have a choice, but it's obviously a choice between 2 poems. All right, if you are in regular, you do not have to work on one of these 2 poems. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. You need to work on the poem that you selected from the review guide, whichever one you selected and prepared for. Hopefully, you took advantage of that opportunity and prepared an explication for one poem in particular, and you are totally locked and loaded and ready to go. If not, then you've wasted that opportunity. And that is, again, a huge advantage because instead of preparing for all of the poems, you only had to prepare for one. All right, so in the test, I need 2 to 3 textual examples about meter and sound, and then an explanation of how each example develops the meaning of the poem. In other words, you need to identify, all right, what's going on in the poem's meter or what's going on with the poem's sound devices. You might think about rhyme scheme, or you might think about the use of alliteration or assonance, or other sound devices that you studied, all right, and that you prepared for, and that you've annotated in some of your poems, right? Provide 2 to 3 textual observations in whatever your focus poem is. 2 to 3 textual observations in that same poem, whatever your focus poem is. All right. Then you're going to draw some conclusions about the central symbol in the poem, the way the voice, the speaker of the text, their perspective is developed through the course of the poem, and then finally you're going to offer me an interpretive theme statement that articulates the poem's main idea. All right. This should be well developed. This should not be a just one perfunctory sentence. This should be a well-developed explanation of the larger idea at stake in the poem as a whole. Okay? This will be 50% of your test. At the bottom of your explication, clearly labeled and titled, you need to include, by copy and pasting, your sonnet. Okay? 50% of your test will be the grade on your sonnet. 50% of your test will be the grade on your explication. All right. You guys can go ahead and get started working on this test now. You may not have access to any outside material except for, obviously, the text of your poems. All right? You can use the text of your poems from here on out on your test. Good luck, many blessings, and write your best. All right? Take it easy.